Hello, beautiful peaches. Welcome to the Macros, Metabolism, and Motivation Beautiful Peach podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin, here to help you find your most unwavering love, beauty, and kindness for yourself inside and out. I will be teaching you nutrition and macro tracking secrets, reverse diet and metabolism health tips and tricks, and motivating the heck out of you so you will want to leap up and start conquering your goals right away. I am here to help bring you the light at the end of the tunnel so you can discover that self-love and truly become the most confident, beautiful peach possible. So grab a pen and a piece of paper, or if you're in the car or at the gym, go ahead and bump up your volume just a little so we can drown out those gym grunters next to you, and we can go ahead and dive right in. Don't forget to snag your completely free high-protein macro cookbook by simply doing a 5-star rate and review on this podcast. All you need to do is submit a 5-star rate and review, then send us your name and email through the link in the show notes so we know exactly where to send your cookbook. By submitting your 5-star rate review, this will also automatically enter you into the weekly podcast macro calculator giveaway. Every week, I give away a copy of my See You Schmidt macro calculator to one lovely winner who leaves an awesome 5-star rate and review. This winner is announced every week on my Instagram story as well as my newsletter email list. So leave that 5-star rate and review, and I'll see you in the episode. What is up, my beautiful peach? Today we are going to go over the 8 unexpected benefits of reverse dieting. I am super excited about this. So we're just going to dive right in. Enjoy the episode. Eight unexpected benefits of reverse dieting. When we think about a slow metabolism, it's also really important to think about why we do have a slow metabolism. When we diet long term, there are many of what I personally call unseen diet receipts that our body actually starts to rack up as we go along in our diet. And at the checkout counter, we get our short-term weight loss, we get our short-term results, and we leave the store. We're like, yeah, we're feeling good, life is good. But we don't get that receipt of the actual price that our body is paying when we are doing those restrictive diets. And that price that we are actually paying that shows up on that receipt that we're not able to see includes our metabolism slowing down. It includes weight regain when we cannot maintain the restriction, low libido, low energy, disruption to our sleep-wake cycle, the restrict and binge cycles. So many things, lack of self-trust, lack of self-worth, body image problems. Truly, the list goes on and on and on. However, we cannot see those negative outcomes of our dieting right away. And this is why we actually tend to continue down the yo-yo diet path. We start this diet to lose weight fast, and we end up starting to stay in this path of chasing unrealistic instant gratification. And often deep down, we know these aren't going to work long term. However, we don't have the action steps on what to do long term. And what happens is we'll finally hit a point where we discover that we can't stay in that unsustainable place because it's doing more harm than good. And for many people, it leads them down the path of tracking macros, reverse dieting, and getting those long-term changes, which is always such a good thing. And what actually happens is we start to return the items that were on that unseen receipt, and we start to give them back. So in this episode, I want to talk about 8 epic unexpected results coming from that reverse diet, aka 8 things that we are basically giving back to the diet world and saying, nope, sorry, return, I don't want this. So I'm just going to dive in. There are 8 of these. They are so good. The last 2 are actually so unexpected. It's wild. I will wait until we get to that. Let me start here at the top. I'm getting ahead of myself. I get excited. So number 1, and this one's a pretty common one, but not everybody knows when we are dieting. So basically number 1 is weight loss that stays off. When we are dieting, it is slowing down our metabolism. The scientific term is called metabolic adaptation. Metabolic being metabolism, adaptation being adapting. This is actually what I wrote my master's thesis on. I have my bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics. I actually was intending to go work at a hospital as a dietitian, but I did not want to go down that path. I did not see myself working in a hospital, so I went on to get my master's degree in exercise science and sports nutrition, where I learned absolutely everything you can possibly think of around macros, around weight loss, sustainable weight loss, human metabolism. I wrote my master's thesis on the human metabolism and also the diet, the effects of the diet on our mentality and weight regain. So this is my expertise, my favorite thing. And to give you an example of what happens with the way that metabolic adaptation works is if we go on our very first diet and we're eating, as an example, 2,000 calories and we go down to eating 1,200 calories because of metabolic adaptation. So metabolic metabolism adaptation, adapting, our metabolism is adapting to a new lower calorie intake. And this is going to actually give us the weight gain receipt. So we're getting that unseen receipt of weight regain down the road. And anytime you eat above 1,200 calories, it's giving you that weight regain because your metabolism is still just chilling out at that 1,200 calorie point, which is wild. Sorry, I also realize I'm talking really fast here. I get really hyped up and these excite me a lot. So I will slow down just a little bit. If you were listening to that and I was talking way too fast, I apologize. So what happens when we reverse diet? When we go from 1,200 calories all the way back up to 2,000 plus calories, so we can go more than 2,000 calories, we are not going to see the weight regain that is associated with eating more because we are being intentional about our reverse diet and with those macro adjustments. And this will allow us to then go into a safe calorie deficit that is not restrictive and to lose weight and actually keep it off sustainably and long term. So I have a client who I've actually never talked about in BPM. She has done her reverse diet with me. I wish I looked it up before. I have it in my notes to look up the exact number that she reverse dieted to. I know it was somewhere around 900 calories more than what she was eating when she started BPM. The inner growth she had is absolutely freaking spectacular. Oh my gosh. So when she started she reverse dieted on up, she absolutely killed it. And right when she started her reverse diet, life happened. Everything was going on, so many different things. And luckily I was there for her to fall back onto for that support to make sure that everything's staying stable while life is happening. And we finally got moving and grooving with her deficit. And she actually posted yesterday, we had check-in feedback yesterday in BPM. And she just posted that she has hit a new low weight that she has not ever seen, which is absolutely incredible. And so that's the beauty of the unseen receipt. When we're healing our metabolism through that reverse diet, we're able to actually get the weight off and keep it off. It is a slow and steady process. So you want to make sure you're getting out of the quick fix mentality. I highly suggest reading the Compound Effect book. It is an incredible book that really helps you learn more about this mentality. It is a book that I encourage all my BPM clients to read. So get yourself a copy of that. It's on Audible as well. I believe it's free on Audible. And this also does lead me into my second little crazy tip here, or crazy unseen receipt, a benefit of reverse dieting. We actually, and this happened to the client who just saw her new lowest weight ever, she also ended her binge eating during the reverse diet phase. And that's my second unseen benefit outcome of positive outcome of doing a reverse diet, which is incredible. So essentially what happens with binge eating, and it's very much associated with restrictive eating. When we feel restricted, we have a hard time staying at that restrictive place. Life is going to happen. It's going to make us feel like we cannot go out to eat. We cannot enjoy the holidays. We cannot do the real world things. We miss food. We mentally are like, I miss this food. So we're going to want to start to eat those foods again. The problem is that our body has been or our mind, I should say, we have been telling ourselves that these foods that likely are leading to the binge are quote unquote bad food. So when we have just a little bit of that food, it turns into a free for all, which is why many women who come to me in BPM start with me in BPM not able to have those foods in their world. They're actually not able to keep foods in their pantry that are considered quote unquote bad foods to them. And what's going to happen is they'll dump it all out. So then and this is just really getting rid of the trigger, which I think is a problem. We want to keep those triggers around and actually heal from the inside out. I talk a lot about this in episode 89. I have it here in my notes. Binge eating, its impact on weight loss and metabolic health. I highly suggest if you struggle with binge eating, go listen to that episode. But what's also going to happen is our body's going to actually promote binge eating when we are in a restrictive place, because our body cannot tell the difference of us being out in the wilderness and not being able to get food and us intentionally keeping ourselves at a restricted place, which is absolutely wild to me. So not only mentally is our body going to be promoting that, or we're going to, mentally be promoting that binge because we miss those foods, but also our body is actually going to promote. Words are so hard right now. I'm not trying to, I have so many things I want to say. I'm trying to say them all at once, but also keep my mind in line, going with one thing that I want to say at a time. But our body is going to actually promote that binge as well. So as we are reverse dieting, it means that we are slowly eating more food. We are not having all of that weight regain associated with eating more food if we are intentional about that reverse diet and doing it properly. So this is getting us slowly but surely out of a restricted place, which really helps our body stop promoting that binge. And then also, because if we are getting out of that restriction through the reverse diet and our body's being healed, so our body's no longer promoting the binge, but if we don't actually heal our relationship with food, our mind can still promote the binge. So you want to make sure that you are healing your relationship with food as you are going through that reverse diet, so you can actually start to eat the food that you love more and more every single day. And it's getting you to train your mind to say, hey, I can have this food. I can stay on track. I will be just fine. And I wanted to give another shout out to this BPM client because she posted this, I think it was last week, and I was just like losing my mind. I lost my mind. I was so excited when I read this. So I'm just going to repeat it back, okay? She said, so, with all the O's, so is there such a thing as a cure to binge eating? If not, I'm going to say it's this program. My mother-in-law got me a small bag of candy the other day, and there was zero desire to immediately open the bag and devour it. In fact, I don't remember what I did with it. There's a good chance I left it in my husband's car. Then it got me thinking, when was the last time I wanted to binge or felt like I couldn't control myself around trigger foods? And then I realized that it's been months, probably the beginning of this year. I really cannot remember. It's been that long. How freaking incredible. How freaking incredible. I was like beaming. She has killed it. She was like 1,000 calories higher in her reverse diet. I am just like in awe at her. She kicked butt. And I will say there were times where there were the ups and the downs, the life happened, things that were unexpected happened, which is why I think that having a community and a coach that you can lean back on is so comforting. But things happened. And instead of looking at them at roadblocks where she just dug feet in the sand and said, nope, I'm done, no more, I can't do this. When things got hard, that's when she was like, no, let's problem solve. Let's figure out an action plan. I want to continue moving forward. I want to continue seeing this progress. I'm just so proud of her because it really pushed her to continue that growth and to step into this next chapter of her life, but also to show up as the woman she wants to be. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about doing the hard things is it allows us to start showing up as a person that we admire. So you look at the people around you and you're like, oh, I admire this person because X, Y, Z. Well, likely if you admire them, you want to have a similar lifestyle as them. And if you want to have a similar lifestyle as them, you need to show up like they do. Do they put in the work? Probably. Do they just call it quits when things get hard? Probably not. Do they do the things that are sustainable, maintainable, educational, and enjoyable? Yeah, absolutely they do. They're problem solvers. They show up, they put in the work, and that's what you get to do. And it's just once you're starting to show up as that person you admire, you become that person, and you can look back and say, holy moly, look at who I've become and feel so incredibly proud because you get to do that, okay? Now, bringing it back to our episode here, me and my little tangents, but another crazy thing that people don't expect is you actually can get regulated periods from a reverse diet. Now, I do want to clarify, if you have any concerns, please go to your doctor. I always want to make sure you are going to your doctor if you have any concerns there. And also, time and time again, if we are at a super low intake, our period will either stop, we'll get unregulated, crazy things are going on there. And this is because our body function at its absolute best, metabolic, hormonal, digestive, when it's at its higher intake, when it's at its where it needs to be, our metabolic intake where it needs to be, or higher, okay? So when we are at a lower intake, many different functions in our body are gonna go completely wonky. And so as we are healing our metabolism and we're eating more, it actually allows our body to start having those systems inside start to work at their absolute best, which is so incredibly cool. And I think for a lot of people, well, I'll talk about this in a second. I'll talk about when I talk about the last unexpected benefit, last two, because those are kind of correlating and they're so cool. So a fourth one is we end up having more energy. I have so many thoughts on this one. So food is fuel, period, end of story. We do not need to work out in order to eat. We do not need to go and run 10 miles in order to eat. Back when I was in my the deep restrict and binge, I would stand on the treadmill and I would either run or walk until I hit 1,000 calories burned, which is wild to me. I actually do not wear an Apple Watch. I don't track how many calories I am burning. I have quite literally no idea. I will say I do want the Oura ring. I think that's how you say it. I think that thing is so cool. I want to track my cycle. I want to track my sleep. I want to track all that stuff. But I really could care. I could care less about how much I am burning because I know I live an active lifestyle. I know I weight train 3 days a week and that's what feels great to me. And I know I track my macros. And when it comes down to it, what we're eating and what we're fueling our body with, aka our macros, our reverse diet, that is going to be the make or break for us seeing progress. So people work their absolute tail feathers off in the gym and they do not see results because their body is very likely in a restrictive place, and you will not see results until you get your metabolism back up. That's my mama bear tough love. I was in a space where I was quite literally working out. I also was overtraining. I was working out 7 days a week. So every single day I had massive guilt on my rest days. Now I'm looking forward to those rest days because I know those are the days where the maximum amount of muscle growth and recovery is happening. Hi, Trisket. Hi, girlfriend. Trisket just popped into the room. I don't know if you could hear her. She got a really cute little haircut. Actually, she kind of looks a little bit like a little bald. It was a really short one, but super cute. Anyway, if you're watching, if you can see the video for this, I do post them on YouTube, full transparency. I'm absolutely terrible with YouTube, if we're being honest. But the door behind me was probably opening and it kind of looked creepy, but Trisket walked in, so that's why. Anyway, lost my train of thought, but the main thing here is what I was going for is when we are not fueling our body enough, we will not see results. And also it's going to really impact our energy levels in and out of the gym. And this is why many women who are doing keto, which is a low carb, they find that they are having more energy crashes. They have unregulated sleep patterns. They put in all of the work in the gym, but they're not seeing changes happen. And so when we are able to reverse diet, we're strategically increasing our macros being our protein, carbs, and fat. And what happens when we do this is you may go from 50 carbs to 250 plus carbs in your reverse diet. Again, over time, we don't want to rush this process. And what's happening is it's kind of what I was saying before is it's helping our body go into a higher intake. So where your body's starting to regulate more and more. And specifically, when it comes to reverse dieting, we're really altering or changing our protein, our carbs, and our fat separately. So as we're increasing our carbs specifically, our body is getting more energy fuel. And we find we have better energy, better sleep wake cycles, okay? I want to interrupt this oh so lovely podcast episode of mine to let you know that the Food Freedom and Macro Guide is available to you completely free. This guide holds the answers you need to end the macro mystery and learn why nothing else has ever worked long-term. With macros and your human factor, you can have your cake and eat it too. Live your life instead of wasting every day hyper-focused on all of the stress on what you can and cannot eat. This Food Freedom and Macro Guide will give you clarity on what macros are, and the role that they play in your metabolism. You'll learn why macros are so important to keep your body functioning properly and how we actually use these and your human factor to see the changes that you want. You'll be able to discover the anti-diet world and how we use macros to eat the food that we love every day. If you're ready for endless food freedom and want to take a deep dive into macros, this guide is for you. Go ahead down to the show notes and grab your guide today. I have a few clients in BPM who are coming out of keto, and this is so wholesome. This is so incredibly wholesome. I got all the feels when I read these because I vividly remember. I can even tell you where I was sitting, and I will tell you. So, number one, Catherine, she says, today I gave myself permission to have half of a decadent. I love that she said decadent. It made me I'm getting teary-eyed because it's just oh, God, they're so wholesome and wonderful. A decadent chocolate croissant. And Catherine has been dieting for decades. I believe she's getting sidetracked here. So a decadent chocolate croissant from a local French bakery. Oh, she said, ... Oh my. And she said, and I bought an extra to freeze for the future. I cannot recall the last time I had a croissant. And I was beaming when I read that. Oh, I was so happy. Gina, I ate half a cup of oatmeal for the first time in months. Who knew that if you deprive yourself of carbs long enough, you'll even miss oatmeal? Oatmeal, right? And so a really sweet story. I have two stories here that actually relate to both of those. So back when I was doing my first successful reverse diet, I love Costco, always have, always will. And if you've ever gone to Costco and you have seen their giant muffins, you will also know that you cannot buy, unless this is just the Costco's in Georgia, I don't really know, but you cannot buy, no, they did that here in Florida too, but you cannot buy one carton of their muffins. You have to buy two. We were at the checkout counter and she was like, go grab another one. You can't do just one. We're like, what? That's so weird. But the beautiful part about it is you can save those muffins. You can put them in the freezer and they last forever. Actually, this is making me want to go buy some more. They have double chocolate chip ones that are so good. You know what? It's time for a Costco run. Twist my arm. I have convinced myself. That was pretty easy to convince myself. It wasn't even somebody else convincing me. But I remember being in Costco and I went to buy them and I was like, oh my gosh. And I got in the car and I got my muffin and I kid you not, I ate the muffin in the parking lot of Costco. Actually, I had half of the muffin. And it was one of the most wonderful memories because I felt so free. I felt so excited. It wasn't a binge in the car behind the scenes so nobody could see me. It was I'm eating this muffin because I can, because I'm right on track, because I'm healing my metabolism, and because I am feeling amazing with my relationship with food. And it was wonderful and so exciting. And then relating to Gina is she had half a cup of oatmeal for the first time in months. And I remember this is so sad. I don't like peanut butter as much, or I don't not like it. So let me explain the story. When I got my first fat increase, again, because protein, carbs, and fat are adjusted separately and at different amounts. And essentially what happened was I had my first fat increase and I was like, oh my gosh, I have more fat to play around with. And I loved peanut butter at this point. I loved it. I would binge peanut butter. I absolutely loved peanut butter. And so I was able to have more peanut butter on my oatmeal and it was incredible. I woke up every morning. I had every flavor of peanut butter. I wish I could remember this company. It was, I can't remember. It was protein peanut butter, I believe. No, it wasn't even protein peanut butter. It was just flavored peanut butter. Oh my gosh, I don't even remember, but it was so good. And I would put it on my oatmeal and it was just the most wonderful thing. I would get so excited for my oatmeal every single morning. And it's just wonderful to see that the way that your life changes and the excitement that comes and the joy that comes back from food. And it's wonderful. It really is. It's wonderful. Some people say it's just food. No, it's not. It's not just food. I love food. I absolutely love food. And so it's wonderful to bring that back. Okay. So anyway, personal stories there that made me smile. Now this relates. So better sleep. So I talked about more energy. And then also I want to talk about better sleep. I want you to think about the days that you get poor sleep, when you don't get enough sleep and you wake up the next morning. How do you feel? Sluggish? Your skin's probably more dry, puffy, dry eyes, darker circles. I actually personally have really dark circles under my eyes. That's just hereditary. But when I covered them up, I didn't do the best job today, but that's okay. And when I get terrible sleep, the circles are awful. They are so bad, right? I am just cranky. The day is ruined. I don't feel good. I'm tired. And then the days when you wake up and you are just feeling absolutely amazing, it's likely because you got good sleep. And so it does correlate with eating more carbs and also overall more fuel coming into our body. It impacts, so when we have low carb, when we're not getting enough food, it's going to impact our sleep-wake cycle. And so we'll have a hard time falling asleep, staying asleep, waking up groggy, right? We're not feeling great. And so as we're healing our metabolism, we're getting more fuel to our body. It actually impacts our overall sleep patterns, which then has a complete ripple effect on our body, on our skin, on our hair, on our energy, on our overall how we're actually feeling in that day. And holy moly, is it really incredible. It is so incredible. It's one of the best things ever. It also leads to so the number 6 here, higher libido. And I'm going to be so incredibly brutally honest. If we do not have a good libido, it can impact our intimate time with our significant other. And this does and can impact our relationship, and you and your partner do not deserve that. We are having that intimate time with our significant other is part of a really happy relationship. And when we're in a restricted place, our hormones are going to go all out of whack. And I think a lot of people are really, really, really quick to say, I've got all these crazy hormonal imbalances and and I will say, if you do have a fear, if you do have a concern, go talk to your doctor. And also, a lot of times I will have women come to me saying, hey, my doctor says my hormones are completely perfect. Everything's showing up normally, but things are out of whack. And it's because when our metabolism is slow, and I've talked about this on past episodes, but just to give you a quick idea too. So when our metabolism is slowed down, we're restricting our food. Everything in our body, so if you can imagine like one single gear in a machine, our body being a machine, and that gear is our metabolism. Or let's say the gear is restriction. That's going to slow down, which is then connected to this metabolism gear. And that gear is going to slow down. And that metabolism gear is connected to all of these receipts that I'm saying. So our sleep, our energy, our libido, our binge eating, all of these different gears are starting to slow down because our body does not have enough fuel, and our body, in order to function at its absolute best, needs to have enough fuel. Okay, so as we are healing our metabolism, that unseen receipt of our low libido starts to get healed. And in addition, we are able to start gaining confidence in our body. We want more intimate time with our significant other. We are feeling that more, and that positively impacts our relationship with our significant other. Now, the last two here, and these two, I think people are always like mind blown about. They don't see this as something that's connected to our metabolism and to a lower intake. So 7 and 8 we will have less digestive problems and more regular bowel movements. And these two can kind of go together. When we're not getting enough food in, it's often impacting our fiber intake, and also it's overall impacting our digestion, okay? And so when we are not getting enough food, and also one quick thing too is I do suggest for all my clients to get a minimum of 25 grams of fiber a day. And also, this is something that I do with my BPM clients if you are having digestive issues, but there is going to be a happy place for your fiber. Some people do better with a lot higher fiber. Some people do better with that 25 range as well. But point being, if you're not getting enough fiber, it's going to impact our bowel movements. We're just getting into I hope you guys don't care about TMI. I quite truly, I like to hear this stuff. I like to talk about this stuff because it's important. It's our body. And I think things are not talked about enough. And so if I can be that container to talk about it and to help you feel comfortable or to get the answers to the questions that you are scared of asking, I would absolutely love to do that. So when I personally was in a really restrictive place, I mean, this was over a decade ago, but I had such irregular bowels. I was constipated all the time. I was uncomfortable all the time. I went to the GI doc, they were like, I do have IBS, but that wasn't the problem at that time because I have it very, very much managed. And the problem was that I was not eating enough. My fiber was not high enough. My body was just so confused. And once we are able to start getting, we're taking care of our fiber, taking care of our body and making sure we're getting the nutrients there. But as we're healing our metabolism as well, we're also focusing on other aspects of our life. So we're not skipping meals anymore. When we skip meals, this can really, really, really impact our digestion. We're drinking more water a lot of times when we are, or also you might be drinking a lot of water, but your body's retaining a lot of that water. When we are binge eating, this is going to really, really, really mess with our digestion as well. So there's a bunch of different things. Our sleep can mess with our digestion. So many different things can mess with our digestion and our bowel movement. So as we're healing our metabolism and we're overall working on ourself, it's able to help us get into this space where we're actually feeling really, really, really free. And we're actually able to have, consistent bowel movements and feel really good there. And again, I always want to repeat, if you have concerns, go chat with your doctor. And then also, I'm here to help. Always here to help. So if you have any of those unseen receipts, I want you to know healing your metabolism is going to change your life. You might be like, whoa, Caitlin, I don't just have one of those 8, I have all of them. My beautiful peach, that came out so southern. My beautiful peach. I did actually come up with a beautiful peach from living in Georgia in the past. So that's where it came from. I found a story of where I said beautiful peach for the first time. I think it's in my About Me story highlight on Instagram. My Instagram is CSCHMIDT.fit. That is my Instagram and my TikTok. You can type it into Google. It'll bring you straight to my website, into your web browser. But I said beautiful peach, and that's when it stuck. This is close to 7 years ago, but super cute. Anyway, if you are resonating with all of those and you're like, I really just want, you're tired, you're exhausted, you really want the long-term change to happen, I triple dog dare you to apply to my beautiful peach mastermind, because life in BPM is absolute freedom. It is freedom. It's being able to order the burger guilt-free. It is having the energy to play with your kids and take them out for donuts guilt-free. It is the confidence that you can have in your body and around your partner, even if you're single, to have in your body so you can feel amazing in and out of your birthday suit. It is having that glass of wine, or 2, sometimes 3, without fear of getting off track. It's taking care of healing your metabolism, taking care of you because you deserve it. And it's also learning how to adjust your macros on your own. I want BPM to be the last program that you ever have. I do not look at you as a number. You are a person with an individual life. You are a human with a name, with a family, right? You are an individual person, so you get to be treated like one. And it's my job in BPM, it's my passion to make sure that everything is catered to you so you are able to have those long-term changes. It's why I do teach you everything that I do as a coach, how to adjust your macros for reverse dieting, for calorie deficits, for lean bulks, for going intuitive, for going through each of those phases. And it's my goal to make sure that you never need another program again. And the success rate is absurdly amazing. And you are just so deserving of that. So and it's something else too. I think I personally read every single application that comes in for my beautiful peach mastermind, every single gosh darn application, every single one. And I think that too many people are seen as a number in just the industry. And it drives me absolutely crazy because you're not just a number, right? You're not just a number. And in order for you to have long-term changes, you have to be seen as a human because you are one. You are one. And I've been in your shoes in the past and I see you, I get you, I really, really do. And I want you to thrive, and you will in PPM. You will get, it's also so funny. So if you apply and you do not get an email to your email saying, is a message letting you know your application was received. I do have automated. So basically once you submit your application, it triggers an email to be sent. And I'm very transparent. So I'm like, hi, this is an automated email that I have set up to give you the peace of mind that your application has been submitted. So if you don't get that email, please submit your application again because it did not go through. But they almost always go through. But just in case. So with all of this, if you have any questions for me, and if you are interested in BPM, when you apply, I want you to know 110% you are ready to rock and roll. So if you have any questions, any nervousness, any nervous butterflies, go ahead and send me a DM on Instagram and just say, hey, I'm thinking, or via email, but Say, hey, I'm thinking about BPM. I'm nervous. Here are my thoughts. Like, can we chat about it? Can we see if it's a great fit or not? Absolutely. I would love, love, love to chat about it. See if BPM is the right program for you, or see if maybe there's something else that would be a better fit of mine for you. I love to chat about those things. I want to hear what's going on in your life. So please never hesitate to reach out. I've been saying that more and more on my Instagram, on my podcast, and it makes my heart so happy because I had somebody who was like, I never knew if I could actually DM you if you would answer. I actually try to answer every single one of my DMs. I spend a lot of time in my DMs, and it's really, really important to me because I want you to get the answers to your questions, and I want you to get the support that you need. And I also don't want you to stay stuck in this place of fear and restriction and being unhappy in your quality of life because you're so deserving of so much more. And so I like to be that container. I like to be that support for you and to give you that safe space to share, because on my bachelorette party, actually, this is really sweet. It made me cry. I cry all the time, but it's fine. But this is really sweet because my friends, my bridesmaids went around and they said one of their favorite things about me, like why they love me. And I was just like, oh my gosh, it's uncomfortable too to hear people talk about why they love you, but it's wonderful and glorious and amazing. And each and every single one of them were like, you are a safe space, someone who will never judge you for what they have to say. And I think it's just because, in my past, I have been in a space where I have been judged and brought down and, put into this space where I felt unworthy. And I never want anyone to ever feel like that. I always want everyone to feel loved, to feel seen, to not feel judged, because your thoughts, your fears are valid. The things that you are feeling is okay. And also you are able to change. You are worthy of change. You don't have to stay stuck where you are. You never have to fear, the judgment. And I want everyone to always feel included. I always want everyone to feel included and just seen. So if you need me, please let me know. I'm always here for you. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode here. I adore you all so very much. Don't forget to do a 5-star rate and review. Please, please. It makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. Somebody gave like a raving, amazing review and to me and she's like, oh my gosh, she accidentally didn't click the 5-star. And I was like, oh no. But I don't know how to change that. I'm bad with technology. But if you enjoy my podcast, please go ahead, do the 5-star rate and review. It means the world to me. It makes me so happy and I appreciate you all. So we'll see you in the next episode. Bye, my beautiful peach.